Alright folks, so in this tutorial our task is to prove that the expected value of a binomial distribution random variable x is equal to np. So now let's get started. So a random variable x is said to follow a binomial distribution with parameters np. So that's a p line within this space and r n being greater than 0. So now let's recall that the PMF for binomial can be written as p of big X equal to small x, which is equal to n combination x p to the power x 1 minus p to the power n minus x. Okay, so our interest here is to show that the expected value of x is equal to np. So this is what we want to show. Okay, so now take note that the expected value of x can be written as x running from 0 to n, x times n combination x p to the power x q n minus x. Okay, alright, so now you can recall that in the absence of x, so let's assume that this x was not there, we could have used the binomial expansion theorem to actually say that then the summation from 0 to n of n combination xp to the power x q to the power n minus x is equal to 1. But because of the presence of x, we can't actually just go ahead to use the binomial expansion theorem. Let's look at the binomial expansion theorem. So by way of recalling what you've already learned in the previous lecture, the binomial expansion theorem states that if you have a to the power m, a plus b to the power m, it can be written as summing certain r from 0 to m, where we have our m combination r, a to the power r, b to the power m minus r. Okay, so it means that in the absence of this x, we could have actually written this whole expression as a plus b to the power m. Okay, so now our task here, because x is posing a restriction, we would have to expand this expansion. We have to expand this expression for us to be able to get rid of the x so that we can use the binomial expansion theorem. Okay, so with the binomial expansion theorem in mind, let's do what to get rid of the x. Okay, now you realize that the expected value of x, which is equal to summing on x from 0 to n, x dot n combination x p to the power x q n minus x. Okay, so now our interest is to get rid of the x so that we can actually use the binomial expansion theorem. Okay, so it means we can actually write this expression as x. So now let's expand n combination x. We are going to get n factorial x minus 1 factorial n minus x factorial. Then we have p to the power x q to the power n minus x. Okay, so it means that we've been able to express n combination x as n combination x on x times 1 minus x factorial n minus x factorial. Okay, so as simple as that. So you can see that now we can actually cancel the x's, so this x can cancel this. Okay, and then we'll end up getting so now end up getting the expected value of x to be equal to summing on x from 0 to n factorial x minus 1 factorial n minus x factorial p x to the power n minus x. Okay, but still we can't actually use the binomial expansion theorem. Let's check the binomial expansion theorem again. We have a plus b to the power m, which is equal to summing from on a certain r from 0 to m. We have m combination r. Okay, and we have a to the power r, b to the power m minus r. Now you realize that in the binomial expansion theorem, always if you should sum the power of a and the power of b, you should get this m. Okay, so you realize that r plus m minus r is equal to m. Okay, this is because plus m minus m is 0, so we have m being equal to, we have this whole expression being equal to m. So we must always make sure that if you add the power of a, the power of b, you should end up getting the power of a plus b. Take note of that. Okay, so now let's continue. Now let's try and expand further. Okay, let's try and expand further. We have expected value is equal to summing on x from 0 to n, where we have n factorial, and we have x minus 1 factorial n minus x factorial. Okay, and p to the power x q to the power n minus x. Alright folks, now let's expand the n further. Okay, so n factorial, we realize that we'll get n minus 1 factorial. Okay, then we have x minus 1 factorial n minus x factorial px q n minus x. Okay, so we'll end up getting summation from 0 to n, and we have n times n minus 1 x minus 1. Okay, n minus 1 combination x minus 1, then p to the power x n minus x. How was I able to write n minus 1 combination n minus 1 factorial on x minus 1 factorial n minus 1 factorial as n multiplying n minus 1 combination x minus 1 times p to the power x q to the power n minus x? Now there's a reason why. Now watch that this side of the expression okay can be written as n minus 1 combination x minus 1. Okay, so if you write this whole expression as this, then it means that the n can stand alone. Okay, So that is how come we're able to write it as that. Okay, so now we have this. So you realize that we still can't use the binomial expansion theorem. Okay, we still can use it. There's a presence of n. There's a presence of this n. Okay, and then if you add x and n minus x, although you are getting an n, but because of the presence of this n, we can't use the binomial expansion theorem. So now let's proceed. Right, so now we have expected value of x, which is equal to summing on x from 0 to n times n minus 1 x minus 1 n minus 1 x minus 1 factorial n minus 1 combination x minus 1. Okay, and we have x p to the power x q to the power n minus x. Okay, so now our interest is to get rid of the n so that we can actually use the binomial expansion theorem. Okay, so now kindly take notes here. So now let's x be equal to t plus 1, which implies that then t will now be equal to x minus 1. Okay, so it means that we are going to substitute x minus we are going to substitute x plus 1 t plus 1 wherever we see x. Okay, so now this means that now we'll no longer be summing on x, but we'll rather be summing on t. Okay, so we'll have the expected value of x being written as summing on t from 0. So now if you are summing on t from 0, we'll no longer be summing from t from 0 to n, but rather on t from 0 to n minus 1. Take note. Okay, then we have n multiplying n minus 1, and wherever we see x minus 1, we are substituting a t. Okay, and we have our p to the power t plus 1 because we are substituting t plus 1 in terms of 4x. Okay, then we have q to the power n minus t plus 1. Okay, so as simple as that. Alright, so now we have our expected value of x being equal to summing on t from 0 to n minus 1 and n minus 1 combination t p to the power t plus 1, and we have q to the power n minus t plus 1. Okay, so now let's continue. Alright, so now you realize that we can actually write this as t from 0 to n minus 1, and then we have our n minus 1 combination t. Now let's express this p to the power t plus 1 as pt dot p1. Okay, p to the power 1, p to the power t dot p to the power 1. Okay, and then we can also write our q as n minus t plus 1. Okay, so now we are summing on t, so anything without t is considered as a constant. So now let's factor n p out because they are without a t. Okay, n minus 1, Then we have n minus 1 t pt q and t plus 1. Okay, so now that's what we have. Let's rewrite it again. So we have expected value of x, which is now np summing on t from 0 to n minus 1. We have n minus 1 combination t pt q n minus t plus 1. Okay, so now folks, do you see what I'm seeing? If we should add the power of p, which is t, and the power of q, which is n minus t plus 1, you realize that to end up getting n minus 1. Okay, so we are actually heading towards using the binomial expansion theorem. Okay, so now let's compare it to the binomial expansion theorem. We have a plus b to the power m, which is equal to summing on r from 0 to m. Then we have m combination r. Okay, and we have a to the power r and b to the power m minus r. Okay, so now you realize that here our r is our t, our m is our n minus 1. Okay, m is n minus 1. Okay, a is p and q is b. So now what's something about the binomial expansion theorem? You realize that if you should add r, this r, okay, and m minus 1, you end up getting an m, or this m here. Okay, right, and then if you should compare the same thing to our expected value here, okay, you realize that if you should add n minus t plus 1 to t, you end up getting n minus 1. Okay, so it means that now we can use the binomial expansion theorem. Okay, good. So it means that now expected value of x now the expected value of x can be written, which is np, okay, summing on t from 0 to n minus 1, n minus 1 t, n minus 1 combination t, p to the power t, q to the power n minus t plus 1 can be written as our p is our a, so p plus q. Okay, p plus q now to the power n, where n is n minus 1. Okay, now remember that q is equal to 1 minus p. Okay, sorry, let's bring up n minus p. Alright, so it means that you can write this whole expression as n minus p plus p 1 minus p, okay, to the power n minus 1. Right, this is the expected value of x. Okay, so we have the expected value of x, which is now equal to np by p plus 1 minus p to the power n minus 1. Okay, so we have np, and this will be 1 n to the power n minus 1. So 1 to the power any number is still 1. So we have np by 1, which is equal to np, which implies that our expected value of x is equal to np. Okay. So we've been able to show that the expected value of x under a binomial distribution is equal to np. I hope this lecture video was helpful. Kindly do subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to press on the bell icon so that you don't miss any updates from Core Prime Statistics. Thank you very much for watching.